The American Family Association.
On this fundamental issue, I will not yield, and Planned Parenthood will not yield.
All the odds against us. Faithfulness is the word.
My religion compels me, and I love it for it, to be against discrimination of any kind in our country.
Our rights come from nature and God, not from government.
All God asks of you is faithfulness, faithfulness, faithfulness.
Fighting for the family, standing for the church, laboring to return to a moral and biblically based culture.
This is the American Family Association at AFA Today.
So very glad you're with us. Welcome. AFA Today on AFR Talk. If you're watching the channel, it's a live shot of 47th and Broadway here in New York, the belly of the news beast, in the shadow of the Freedom Tower, just across the street from the 9/11 Memorial and Museum. Kevin McCullough, glad to be ending the week with you in some grand fashion, if we can today. That's going to be the goal. And I've got something, we're going to talk about something really important. Here's what I don't understand. And maybe someone's going to have to help me understand it, because I must be the densest man alive. I must be not very bright. But Georgia passes these gun laws that allow teachers to be armed in schools. And they pass the gun laws so that teachers can be armed in schools so that they protect the kids from future school shootings. The Associated Press is reporting today that in light of a string of attacks at schools and colleges from California to Washington, educators in Georgia at two different school districts cite the danger of guns as why they're not going to arm the I quit. Too much stupidity in this life for me. I don't... We'll get to that in a second. Some important news to update you on. The Christian woman that's in Sudan, she has made it to the U.S. Embassy. She is in safe refuge there. Her entire family is there, and they can't get her. The Sudanese can't get her. She's safe as long as she's there. Now, if the U.S. has any guts to itself, and given this administration, that's a pretty big if, but if they do, this should be extremely good news for Meriam Ibrahim, who just wants to leave the country. She just wants to be done with Sudan. She married an American citizen. She's had his 3 children. She was tried for apostasy. She was tried for adultery. She was found guilty. It's all a bunch of hogwash. And she just wants to be done with it. So she's 27. She's been safely ensconced in the U.S. Embassy in Sudan, and what happens next is really Sudan's move. They're the ones that have to decide if they're going to try to prevent the U.S. from bringing her home. That's that's something that they're going to consider. Anyway, my phone number 888-589-8840 888-589-8840. Kevin McCullough, glad to have you with us. Ms. Pelosi. Now, we haven't heard that name in a while. Thank goodness. Ugh. She's planning a very special field trip this weekend. I don't know if you've heard about this. She's going to go to the border, the southern border, and I'm sure in her, Ralph Lauren and her shoes, the New York, Washington, D.C. High-end shoes, Christian Louboutin, something like that. She's gonna kind of waddle down to the border, and she's gonna talk to border officials and try to get a sense of what's going on there, as if you can't tell by reading every day. But she's gonna try to get a sense, and then she's going to welcome the young illegal immigrants that are pouring in like goers to a big concert. They're just crushing into our border. They're coming across. Can't figure out what to do with them. They're gonna put some of them on some sort of containers of some sort. Send some to New York. Send some to other states. They've got some on the border. There's all kinds of diseases coming in with these kids. There's so much, and there's so little. And now for the second day in a row, I'm seeing headlines on Drudge that talk about Mexican military incursions on our border. Now, let's get something straight, Mexico. That better stop now. You don't cross our border. You don't come into our sovereign area. You don't shoot at people on our side of the border. This has all happened several times the last week, and according to the headline that's up right now, Mexican military chopper crossing into USA fires at border agents. That better come to a quick halt right now. We're under attack, friends, on our southern border, and we're sleepwalking through this. Does the president have his tea time for tomorrow yet? I just want to make sure we take care of priorities. I think he was wanting to try to squeeze in 18. You know, it's a good 5-6 hour distraction from the rigors of not doing anything in the White House. 888-589-8840, 888-589-8840. But I think it's so touching. Nancy Pelosi is going to go down there and welcome all the illegal immigrants that are coming into the country. She's going to go welcome them. Welcome. Hi, here's a flower. Hi, welcome. Yes, we have everything for you. Another headline that's kind of, it's just shocking just reading the headlines in National Review today. All the employment growth that our country has seen since the year 2000 has gone to immigrants. Wow, that's special. So as you can see, we've got a world that is discombobulated. We've got a world that's upside down in many respects. That's why here, this microphone, this broadcast, every day, we get together, we help obliterate confusion, amplify truth, pursue clarity. That's what this is about. So thanks for doing your part. All right, I want to get directly to this other story. I don't know why the educators in Georgia are doing what they're doing. I would hope that educators in Georgia, particularly those that run the school boards, one in the Bibb County School District, I would hope that they're educated people. I would hope that they would have a degree of understanding of what, I don't know, statistics and probability and other things say about actual facts. I hope they're not just bleeding heart liberals that are like, well, just because we believe in this, we're gonna put the safety of our kids at risk. But I'm not sure. I can't be sure that they're smart. I can't be sure that they have the welfare of the children as foremost in their mind, because they're acting pretty dumb. Georgia school leaders are turning down a new law that the Georgia legislature worked hard to get passed, arguing that it doesn't make kids any safer and creates more problems than state lawmakers wished to solve. Okay, so I get that lawmakers are all representatives of us and they're an extension of we the people. So we the people, those of us that would live in Georgia, I don't live in Georgia, but if I did, I would be one of we the people. But we the people that live in Georgia elected state lawmakers to go to their state capital and render this, write this law and say this is what we're going to do to make safety of our children in schools priority. And they're one of the few states that have done it. But they have said, hey, we're going to arm teachers. We're going to give teachers the right to carry guns in school. Because you know what happens? We go to these other places and we see where you have schools that are dedicated as gun-free zones. And guess what? That's always where the shooters show up. The shooters don't show up at the school where they think every teacher has a gun. They show up at the school where they think no one has a gun. But according to Steve Smith, Mr. Smart Guy at the superintendent of the Bibb County School District, we could give teachers all. I need a nerd voice because this just sounds like a really nerdy thing to say. We could give teachers all the training in the world as to how to shoot a gun, but knowing when to shoot poses a major problem. The folks we work with day in and day out just don't have that. They don't have what? Brains to decipher when it's okay to shoot someone that is, I don't know, wishing to attack the children that they're teaching? Or is Mr. Bibb saying that the teachers in his school district, in the Bibb County School District, and if you happen to be a teacher in the Bibb County School District of Georgia, I would love to hear from you. In fact, if you work in the Bibb County School District in Georgia, I want you to tell Cedra when you call 888-589-8840 that you work in the school district, because I want to ask you specifically a few questions. But in the Bibb County School District in Georgia, Steve Smith, the superintendent, we could give teachers all the training in the world as to how to shoot a gun, but knowing when to shoot poses a major problem, and the folks we work with day in and day out don't have that. Don't have what? Don't have the ability to decipher between when it's wise to shoot and when it's not wise to shoot? How about this, Mr. Smith? Steve Smith, superintendent of the Bibb County School. How about this? How about if you see someone coming towards the school with a gun, they shoot him? How about that? Is that hard to figure out? Is this something you need to do like an in-depth sensitivity course, 16-week training on? How about in times of danger, when it feels like and looks as though someone might be trying to attack the school, you use the guns in defense of the students? Because I'll guarantee you one thing. If there had been guns at Sandy Hook, there wouldn't have been as many dead children. The provision that was passed in Georgia was part of a sweeping law that expands where Georgians can legally carry guns. It takes effect July 1st. It includes bars and churches. By the way, two other great places to have guns. Now, think about it. Eating establishments. There was one in North Carolina. I talked about it a few weeks ago. They have this big sign on the front door. No guns allowed here. They've been robbed 63 times in the last 2 weeks. Not quite 63. They've been robbed a lot. Why? Because they're advertising. We're defenseless. Hey, just come do what you will with us. So they have been. But here, the smart people, the really smart people that are just angry inside themselves. They're so angry at those stupid lawmakers and the stupid voters of Georgia that put those stupid lawmakers in charge of Georgia. Those stupid people whose stupid kids they have to teach every day. They're so stupid. Why won't they just do what we educators tell them to do? Don't they know we're the smart people? Those stupid voters. How dare they say that they can carry guns? We'll show them. We'll say, oh, even though you can carry a gun, we won't let you in the school. The new law pulled Georgia education leaders into a Second Amendment discussion they say they never wanted. The schools were quick to express their support for people to carry guns legally. Oh, well, thank you. I'm glad they had your permission to carry the guns legally. That's like saying, you have my approval to say that the sky is blue. Okay, I didn't know that I needed it. But they are wary at the idea of weapons inside school buildings. They're wary of weapons being inside school buildings. I don't know, because having empty school buildings with no weapons worked out so good in California and Oregon and Washington and Connecticut and Columbine and Boulder and everywhere else that there's been a shooting where sitting ducks are just sitting there. It's worked out so well to have places void of people that have the chance to defend themselves. That's worked fantastic. You educators in Bibb County, Georgia, you're geniuses that are putting the lives of our children at risk. AFA today on AFR Talk.